Poor Mai wed a man 62 years old. The terrible reality is that she was booted out of her house following a month of shared accommodation. Have you ever considered whether hurried decisions in life could have unanticipated effects? You have undoubtedly heard numerous stories about love and life in the past, but today I want to share a unique story that will not only confuse you, but also prompt you to reflect on your own life decisions. This story is about Mae, a young girl who chose to marry a 72-year-old man despite the complexity of the situation. The truth behind this marriage makes people unable to help but use themselves. After only 1 month of living together, a catastrophe happened. Baby Mai was kicked out of the house. Why is that? Age difference and circumstances got married with the hope of a fulfilling life. Lovely, but today I will tell you this story and take you on a journey to discover love, life, and regrettable mistakes. Why do we readily trust in things that seem to be coincidental? Look straight forward without considering their negative side. This narrative could serve as a cautionary tale. This narrative serves as a cautionary tale about the events occurring around us. If you are looking for answers or at least valuable lessons from reality, don't miss this video, and you will realize that life is sometimes strange and unpredictable things can happen by chance without warning, causing us to make decisions that we ourselves cannot make. My story serves as a typical example of a poor girl's life. Her family was facing financial difficulties. She suddenly chose one day to wed a 72-year-old guy, almost 50 years her senior. A marriage tinged with difficulties. Surprise carries both anxiety and hope, as well as a lot of difficult to respond to inquiries. Mai was born into a poor family in a little crooked cottage in the center of a village with only the love of her parents. Life was linked with difficult days, meals with only vegetables and soup, sometimes not enough to satisfy her hunger, and old clothes worn from her previous life. But little Mai constantly harbors a huge dream in her heart, one of a more satisfying existence above all else. She yearns for nutritious food, fresh clothing, and a strong roof instead of the ramshackle one she resides in. Then the elderly man materialized like a miracle, a prosperous man with many ups and downs in life. Along with money, the elderly man possessed a compassion that gave Mai the impression of stepping into another universe. Though the old man is the one who can be her mother, Mai sees the protection and shelter she never had. The feelings he has for her cannot deny the old man loves her every little bit. She believes this is the opportunity she has been waiting for all her life. Poor girl with simple dreams found faith in this man. The old man talks about his dreams of leaving a legacy for the next generation, and Mai, with the purity of youth, believes that this love will transform everything. But is the love between them real? She felt for her, and she began to blossom in a space full of promise they shared. As beautiful as they believed that question was, from the moment they started to stay together, it has gradually grown more important than ever. Everything happened, too fast and abrupt, a daring decision to marry when hope and love overpower Mai's reason. Is the older guy with many distinctions the proper road to transform Mai's life, or just a temporary choice? Mai chose to marry the elderly man, but behind that decision was a deep-seated desire for a new, exciting life and a way out of the past. It was more than just joining into a marriage, but after a month of living together, unanticipated events occurred that quickly changed everything. No one could forecast the future. Will Mai's love for the elderly man endure over time? And the age difference or the truth behind that marriage will make her face a tragedy she never thought of. Those questions will progressively be revealed in the next part of this story, when the story of love, sacrifice, and the surprises in life opens up a priceless lesson. Every one of us longs for the first lovely days, the fresh hope, and the first days of shared living. Everyone wants to experience something like that once in their lives. The narrative of Mai and the old guy is really like a fairy tale. Mai, a poor girl living in squalor, unexpectedly found herself in another universe. She now resides in a luxurious villa in a brand new universe, equipped with all the conveniences of a large house, including well-furnished rooms filled with expensive items she could never have imagined. They meticulously prepared every meal, leaving no dish unaccounted for, sought for. The parties consistently presented her with mouth-watering cuisine, making Mai feel as if she were living in a dream. Right then, what was her mood? She experienced an indescribable sense of satisfaction and immense delight as she encountered events she had only dreamed of for the first time in her life. The costly gifts the old man gave her on special occasions further enhanced the joy. She never imagined that her life would change so quickly, not only in terms of material changes, but also in terms of the loving care she received from the old man. Once thought to be merely a character in a fairy tale in Tiny Mai's eyes, the elderly guy now is the model of a man. He is ideal, not only affluent, but also a man with heart. His warm heart always pays her particular attention. Every meal, every present, and every word he says makes Mai feel as though she is the most significant person on earth. Most of all, she felt loved and respected. She felt as though she was living in a world she never dared to dream of with the love Tiny Mai had continually sought to create. Every meal and night's sleep made sure the elderly man was always in excellent health. She got up early every morning to make breakfast for him. She took care of him every night and helped him change as though this were her holy duty. Completing these little deeds for Mai is her means of thanksgiving and love for the man who has given her an opportunity to live in a world she never dared to consider. Mr. Mack, though elderly, he values and understands what Mai does. Seeing the small daughter developing in her new life makes him glad. He loves her ceaselessly with compliments and takes care of her totally. Mai felt as though she was living in a lovely love story as she appreciated the old man's careful actions. Along the grounds of the estate, they strolled together, discussing their dreams and recollections of him. Mai felt she could relate to the elderly guy more, not just as a rich man, but also as a human being, since his stories from his day seemed to have formed unique bonds between the two of them. One could argue that the strong emotions of love experienced in these early days combine rationality with passion. Every day she discovered fresh knowledge from the elderly man they were with. Thus, Mai not only got a spouse, but also a friend, a teacher who taught her about life and about how to love and care for others. She felt proud to be by his side. Though love is a mix of many elements, not everything always goes smoothly. There are times when we cannot avoid feeling confused and unsure of what to do. The unexpected changes in life for Mai are like a wave, sometimes calm, but also sometimes strong. Whatever the beauty of the love between her and the old man seems at this time, she had not expected in the meantime their age gap and style of life. Mai seemed to yearn for the beautiful early days and fresh hopes. Love can help us overcome many challenges, but is it enough to keep two people together for a long period as time goes by and things change? The question of whether the old man and little Mai can maintain their love when real difficulties arise, or whether hidden conflicts will emerge, begins to unfold. The sweet and hopeful beginning gradually gave way to the appearance of unusual signs, changes Mai could not ignore, even if her life had changed in ways she had never seen before. This relationship has become increasingly complex, and these questions have gradually become more significant than before. Dreamers were daring, but beneath that glitzy exterior, tensions began to show, making everything weighty and unpleasant. After a brief period of cohabitation, she began to realize that everything was not as it seemed. The meals Mai had prepared with all her heart and love for him now transformed into something more than criticism and undue demands. She imagined the old man, who had always been kind and gentle, had now become much more difficult and strict in his actions and words. Never-ending disputes, why everyone was so enraged, eluded her. Moreover, his words were like an unquestionable command that made her feel the heaviness and pressure from the very man. Suddenly, the situation deteriorated, and the sweet gifts he had given her, initially perceived as expressions of love, transformed into unseen pressures that made her feel as though she was living in a prison. The world is full of unreasonable demands. One morning, when little Mai was taking care of the house, the old man suddenly asked her to work harder to keep it clean and tidy. She trusted little. Mai tried to explain that she had done her best, but his reactions were quite severe. He was no longer gentle or encouraging, but instead she could not resist instructions. The warm times they used to have now start to lack tenderness and affection, the environment between the two progressively becoming strained, even oppressive. Mai believes she is under control and cannot act without his guiding her. She started to feel that since the old guy watched her every action, she no longer felt the freedom and love as before. Everything seemed to be turning into an underground battle, one she did not want to fight. Little Mai tried to find out the reason for this change, but it was not straightforward to wonder if the old man was facing some difficulty she did not know, or if the sweet early days were just a front. She felt worn out and confused. Sleepless nights and wandering thoughts about the future made her feel as though she was sinking deeper into a puddle. A startling truth finally showed itself, showing the sinister side she had not yet noticed, and rendering Mai powerless to assist but rather scared. After a period of cohabitation, the elderly man was not precisely the gentleman she had assumed. Things she had never observed before now caused enormous trouble. The old man truly wanted obedience rather than true love. His activities progressively exposed a different character. The elderly man not only wanted her to follow his advice, but also wanted to govern her every action out of avarice. Mai began to realize that the old man was not just asking her to work, but also making her feel as if she was living in a paradise where everything appeared wonderful, but gradually lacked freedom and autonomy. Her demands were not out of concern, but rather of invisible pressures she had to face. Harder and also made illogical demands that prevented her from breathing. She was unable to understand why the elderly man had changed so drastically. Was there any way she could get out of this? She started to feel as if she was spiraling into a dead end where the demands of the elderly man controlled every decision she made when she sat and pondered alone. Mai knows deep down that love cannot be only compliance and sacrifice. Most of all, she wants to be loved and respected. She also wants to live in an environment where she may express herself without regard to control. But can the elderly man grasp this? Is their relationship changing? Alternatively, will it always be a never-ending struggle between love and control of the narrative? Little Mai Dan made a surprising turn. Few others could have predicted it. The odd signals were no more little things she could overlook. She felt even more precisely the difference in the old man's behavior every day that went by. A terrible and sad truth started to show itself, and it was not only the change in his behavior but also in her treatment. Mai's perspective on life, love, and her expectations from the man she once loved began to shift. Mai starts to make a difficult choice among the weight of suffocation and criticism. Will she be able to escape this life full of control and rediscover herself? Or will she keep on bearing and sacrificing? The catastrophe took place. She left the house booted out. She recounted a seemingly idyllic life. Between the youngsters, there was a sense of harmony. After the first hopeful days, Mai and the elderly man were finally guided to a tragedy that little Mai never anticipated. Everything happened so rapidly, shockingly, and painfully that all her dreams seemed to have vanished. All her dreams materialized, but in an instant, everything she possessed vanished, leaving her feeling alone, confused, and hopeless. A sense of losing not just love, but everything. after just 1 month of living together, the tension between little Mai and the elderly man erupted. The small but sinister signals that had been building up over time, and to some point they became a trigger that renders everything irreparable. She had been yearning for and expecting it all her life. The primary cause of this seemingly ideal marriage's failure was a minor disagreement about family financial management. For many individuals, this is a typical issue, however. For Mai, it is the end of a life she has given all her heart to create. The elderly man advised Mai to be careful and spend more wisely. These demands are naturally appropriate in family life when it comes to handling money and avoiding pointless purchases. Yet, the method the old guy expressed lacked sympathy and respect for control. His influence spans Mai's every behavior as much as financial management. He regulates and authorizes every choice she makes, leaving her feeling choked. She was no longer herself. In the moment of anger, little Mai could not control her emotions. She reacted, trying to explain her point of view, and did not accept the imposition from the old man. She refused to endure a relationship where she consistently had to comply with orders and requests without receiving respect. Her resistance served as an excuse for the old man. Decide on something nobody would have predicted, something that would cause a disturbance to everyone. One choice Mai could not accept shattered her heart. Angrily and firmly, the elderly man stated that a minor financial disagreement would lead to the dissolution of their partnership. She left the house under kicks. Mai only remembers a life that was ideal but is now like a dream. Sharing is not just about money or material things, but also sharing feelings, ideas, and ambitions in life. The relationship, if one side feels overwhelmed without the chance to express herself, will progressively become stifling. Lose equilibrium. Mai never understood that her relationship with the elderly man was based on love rather than sharing. Mai's experience teaches us the essential lesson of protecting personal identity and freedom 4 times, the necessity of maintaining dignity and personal freedom in all relationships. Manipulation control without sincere sharing love cannot continue. Mai seems to have let extraneous elements in during her relationship with the elderly man. In my view, control and imposition only bring a sensation of suffocation and loss of respect in a relationship when one person is transformed into a tool or an instrument to satisfy the needs of the other person. As material fame and protection from the old man overwhelmed her true value, she forgot that no one could live without personal freedom, without the right to express his ideas. It is not love then either. Mai had to come to see that she could not trade her freedom and identity regardless of the degree of safety and care she got. Mai's narrative amply illustrates how in life material objects cannot substitute respect, knowledge, and actual love. Only when both sides respect one another, share emotions, and have similar basic ideals will a relationship last. If the connection is solely based on worldly objects without significant spiritual components, it won't be able to endure long. Mai's narrative teaches not only to those in love, but also to all of us in every kind of relationship. Don't let the ostentatious items outside distort your thinking and cause you to lose yourself in a decent marriage. Love is sharing, respecting, understanding, and living together. Most importantly, maintain your dignity and freedom in every relationship, as that matters most. Cannot trade priceless lessons. The narrative of Little Mai ends, but the lessons it provides will always remain intact in our brains and hearts. This is not simply a story about love and marriage or the challenges in life, but a clear image of the complexity of life decisions. Only true respect and newness are the solid basis of a true love life, and significant decisions in life, as we all know, do not always go smoothly. Mai's mistakes, thoughts, and actions are not only a warning for herself, but also a common lesson for all of us who are looking for a lasting relationship in the times when everything seems too late. Mai's narrative provides ample evidence of this. From the moment she met the man she believed would be the one, every step she took was evidence of this. Until we realize the lack of love and understanding is the decisions that shape our life, sometimes we get too caught up in the promises and beautiful dreams of a life of luxury and comfort. But it is these promises that can cloud our judgment and cause us to miss important signs of emotional and communication deficiencies. My mock rumbled like that. However, their errors enable us to gain insightful knowledge about wise life decision-making techniques. Nothing is certain in life. Only those in charge can choose the right path. The bases of every relationship are respect and understanding. The most crucial lesson Mai's narrative offers is respect. It's important to understand that respect is one of the fundamental components and values in every relationship, especially in marriage. Mai neglected that love is not only about giving when she was trying for happiness. Not only did they trade material goods, but they also exchanged knowledge and mutual respect. She was caught up in the glitter of a luxurious life, but did not realize that the lack of communication and respect in a love relationship would. Respect is not just about being courteous or pleasant to each other. It's about listening, knowing, and valuing your feelings, ideas, and aspirations. Understanding is being aware of the needs and wishes deep inside your lover. Mai was unaware of the fact that without knowledge, we can quickly turn egocentric and concentrate just on our desires. Remember, love is a sharing and exchange between two souls. Therefore, no matter how many expensive gifts or how full of material goods a life is, love cannot last long when a relationship lacks respect and understanding. Mai is not the only one who should learn this. Every one of us should. Make sure you really know that individual before starting a relationship, not only from looks. Respect them as yourself. They live on their soul and ideals as much as on the outside. Love cannot flourish and persist only when there is respect. Hence, you will know when you realize the other person. One of the things Mai did not realize throughout the story was her reliance on material things, believing that with gifts, expensive items, and a life without a shortage of happiness, it would come naturally. But in reality, it is not like that. The relationship between her and the elderly man not only lacks affection, but also lacks love, true spiritual and emotional connection. When material becomes the deciding factor, everything becomes flat and lacks color. In the relationship, love and understanding are much more important factors. They are the things that will nurture and sustain relationships throughout our lives. We need to realize that, although material things can make life easier, love and happiness cannot be bought with money. Every relationship can find durability and stability through spiritual values. Mai discovered this lesson as she came to know that the most significant events in life are not the ones one could see, but ultimately, one of the most important lessons Mai's narrative offers is the emotions, the connections from the heart, and the sincerity of every person. Learning from the mistakes of others to avoid repeating the same ones. Though each of us has unique lessons to learn from the faults of others, either painful events or past mistakes should not be repeated in the future. It is therefore crucial that we know how to avoid such repetition. Mai's narrative serves as a reminder to everyone seeking love, marriage, or a better life, not to let delusions about perfection in relationships cause you to lose the most vital principles. We can avoid Mai's suffering and disappointment by valuing ourselves and each other and understanding relationship needs. Mai's story is not only a lesson about love and marriage, but also a powerful message about how we live and how we handle obstacles in life. Keep in mind that every life lesson has a lesson, and sometimes we need to learn from the mistakes of others to avoid repeating them. Keeping your own identity in every situation. This life can be challenging, but with the valuable lessons we learn, we will find the right and more sustainable path. So this is the story of baby Mai, ending with an unexpected outcome. A life that seemed to bring hope turned into an obsession. The lessons from the story of little Mai always echo in everyone's mind. Always remember that respect, understanding, and sharing are indispensable factors in any relationship. Learn how to keep. We embarked on a journey filled with unexpected discoveries and hidden corners that not everyone was aware of. Channel to keep accompanying 10-minute life stories, since there are lessons we don't always understand immediately away, but will always help us grow and become more conscious. Thank you for following. Remember that every decision you make now counts in this life. Not haste. Do not give up. See you in the next video. Only one minor error can transform everything through the warning signals.